Hello and welcome to this episode of the Business Spotlight. Today we are joined by Thomas from Edwards and Finn. Hi, Thomas.
Hello there, Mark. Thanks very much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, what is the Business Spotlight? I hear you say. So, the Business Spotlight, it's just a podcast that we've decided to introduce to give a platform for local businesses and local business owners just to share their journeys and the trials and tribulations of being in business. And we found that, if you're already in business or thinking about getting on that entrepreneurship journey, that there's some synergies for you within these podcasts. So if that's why you're joining us today for the first time, then you're in the right place. So, Thomas, if you can just kick things off for us then by just letting everybody know who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for.
Sure. Well, again, thanks to you and your team, Mark. It's a great pleasure to be here. Okay, so my name's Thomas Finn. I'm the managing director of Edwards and Finn, which is a specialist commercial recruitment company that focuses on the hospitality and travel and tourism industries, not just in the UK, but also internationally. I've been doing specialist recruitment now for just over a decade, and I've owned my own business for nearly 6 years.
Wow, fantastic. So it's always good to hear from business owners that have been in business for, I often say there's a couple of milestones that come up, the 5 and the 10 years. And
Yeah.
interestingly, they say that I think it's something like 80% of businesses don't get past the first 5 years.
Yeah.
So
We
congratulations on getting
yeah, I
past
was
that
going to say
milestone.
it's been close at times, if I'm totally honest, but no, and I've got a few more grey hairs because of it. But no, it's certainly been a journey, but very happy to still be around. That's for sure.
Fantastic. Well, glad to have you with us. So, Thomas, what would you say then, knowing what you're doing now, what is it that really makes you guys stand out from the competition?
Okay. Yeah, the, like any business, we're always going to say that we're massively different for so many reasons, but there's a couple of main things that stand out to me and my team, and certainly to the industry that we're in. The first one being, and the one that I've actually said on a couple of other podcasts that we're so proud of, and me particularly proud of, is that we've gone from being an external vendor working into an industry to becoming part of that industry. We've been let in, if you like. We're part of the furniture. We're part of the conversation rather than being on the outside. And that for us, and again for me specifically, has been such a long journey for the industry to trust us to a point where we can confidently say that. So that's one big thing. The thought leadership side of things for us is a big deal. So every year we hold 2 to 3 commercial leadership events where we bring 20 industry leaders from some of the largest hotel brands in the world, like Marriott International and Accor and Hilton and IHG and all these guys. But then we also have smaller hospitality groups, hotel management companies, single prestigious properties, uh, like the Hotel Castle Royal or the Langham in London, Claridge's, the Savoy, all these types of clients. They're coming together twice a year to discuss the challenges that are going on in the industry, the things that they're facing. And again, because of the leadership level that they're at and the decision-making level they're at, we can actually influence real change. And it's not us as a business that's driving that, it's us bringing the people that together that need to drive that and giving them the opportunity to do so. And what's a sort of great little note for these events now is every single time we release the spaces, all the spaces go within that afternoon. So we've never ever had a situation where we've waited longer than a couple of days, a week to wait for responses. They're usually gone. So we put the spaces out for this year's event at the end of last year. All the spaces went immediately. Um, so that's another really big thing. And I don't mean to sort of go on here, but there is one other really key element, and that's the education bit. So myself, I've been guest lecturing at a number of universities in the UK, but also in wider Europe, to really drive that, or to help cultivate the next generation of hotelier in our industry, because it's been such a gap for such a long time. And now my team has started to embrace that. So one of my team, Jason, he's now heading up our Bridging the Gap program, which is all around bridging that gap between education and the real world of hospitality and commercial. So those are sort of the two main pillars. And then, of course, we've also got our YouTube channel. So every week on a Thursday, we have an industry YouTube channel episode which covers industry leader interviews. It could be events that we're going to, it could be events that we're holding. Anything and everything goes onto our YouTube channel. We've been doing it since November 2019, and it's certainly something that we haven't seen anybody else do it at the standard that we do in our industry. So that's another big thing that really sets us apart, I think.
Wow, yeah, that's a very nice list that you've got there, not only of sort of clients that you're working with, but a list of reasons why you are different to
Sure.
the competition. So, yeah, no, thank you very much for that share. That's no doubt going to resonate with an awful lot of our listeners. And if not, it's going to make them sort of sit up and pay attention as to sort of like,
Oh,
what you're up to. So, thanks for that share. It's really good
oh,
for you
no
from
worries.
our point of view, Thomas. So, you mentioned the business has been running for sort of 6 years now. So just give us a bit of a whistle stop tour of the journey so far, the reasoning behind setting the business up, and then just bring us through to where we are today.
Sure, sure. Wow. Okay. So, complete transparency. When I was younger, both my parents own their own businesses. Both my parents, well, my father actually sold his business and retired successfully and all the rest of it. My mum still owns her own business and is still working. So I've always grown up in that home where you know you're a captain of your own ship, if you like. And my background was not one where it was relatively easy. I was a father at 17, unexpected. But we made do, we did what we needed to do, and I worked multiple jobs, and I got myself into sales. But that goal of owning something that was mine was always there, but the means to be able to do it was not possible. It was out of reach for such a long time.
Sure.
So I earned my stripes in recruitment. So I came out of sales roles, and then I started in recruitment within wealth management and financial planning recruitment. So I was sort of recruiting and headhunting for large banks and private sort of investment houses and so on. And that's where I really cut my teeth. Then I stepped into a business that was had a focus on what I focus on now, and I helped to sort of cultivate and help build or continue to build the desk that was there. And then the industry, well, there was a particular person in the industry that approached me and said, "Have you ever considered doing this yourself?" And honestly, at the time, as I said, my background, there is no way I would have ever thought of anything like that ever. But there was a number of people that said, "Yeah, we associate your brand with you, mate. We don't associate you with the company that you're working for." And it was a big step for me because it wasn't something I was ever going to do, and there was someone that believed in me, and there was support that was there. So I said, right, let's do this. So for anybody watching this, if you're a well-established business owner and everything else, I am very much the guy that is still learning as he goes along, and still very much making all the mistakes that people make.
Yeah.
But I'm loving every minute of it, and making something my own, and it working the way that I want it to work, and the people that I have in the business. Honestly, I could not be more grateful. So yeah, that's where it originated from a very humble beginning,
Yeah.
to an opportunity that I never saw coming.
Wow. Wow, that sounds amazing. And what a journey so far, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, 6 years in the business, and I've got a 17-year-old son that is amazing. So yeah, from the start to where we are now, we never would have seen it, but here we are, I suppose.
Well, congratulations and thanks for being so open in that share. Thank you, Thomas.
Oh,
So obviously that brings us up to where we are now today. So what would you say looking forward? What does the future hold, and what sort of challenges do you think you're going to be faced with?
sure. In terms of what the future holds for Edwards and Finn, what we've developed over the last couple of years now is our offering. So at the very start of the business, it was revenue management, which is a very niche area of hospitality and travel and tourism. Very astutely commercial individual within a business, or a team within a business. What we sort of slowly realized from our clients' perspective was that revenue management sat within the wider commercial function, so sales, marketing, and e-commerce. and what we were looking to do is actually branch out into those areas as well. So that was a big step for us because we were always known, our bread and butter was the go-to guys for revenue management recruitment. So to drive that was not an easy task, but something we wanted to do. The next part of that is going to be hospitality tech. So it's actually something we've already started doing or dipping our toe into, but it's something that we see massive opportunity in because the relationships that we've got with our hospitality tech solutions, not just in the UK, but globally, are strong. We've got good friendships, we've got good connections. So we've just started taking on roles that will sustain us in the UK market. But like we all know, when the UK market gets hit, it can really halt a lot of your business. So what I'm looking to do is look at that hospitality tech element, but internationally, like we do with our other roles within recruitment. So that's a big, big area for us for the future. And I suppose with regards to the YouTube channel, we're doing a lot more travel. We're doing a lot more international work with clients. That's also something that's really exciting, really, really exciting.
Wow. So it sounds like you got a pretty bright future to go into.
More grey hairs, so I can tell you that.
Oh, don't worry about that. It happens to the best of us,
Yeah,
Thomas.
right.
Oh, fantastic. So, okay, so talking of grey hair, then moving on to yourself as the business owner, what
Yeah,
would you say has been your biggest lesson today that really stands out for you?
biggest lesson. It sounds so cliche, but it's not it's not taking people's you my biggest lesson is to stop concerning myself with other people's opinion. Um and the reason I say that is because from day one we were a disruptor. We weren't doing things the way that things are usually done. And because of that, the industry or our competitors, if you like, they didn't take to us as well as I'd hoped they would. And I started to question at the very start. I really did. I started to question: did I go too far? Did I push things too quickly? Have I tried too much? And it took me two and a bit years to actually say to myself, you need to stop. You need to stop concerning yourself with what these other people are saying and stay in your lane. Because if you keep going, you're going to get somewhere. So I think it was a lesson of stop concerning yourself with other people's opinions and just crack on and let them worry about themselves because they're going to be in your rearview mirror. And I think there's people that would disagree, but I'd like to think that we're on that track and we're doing a pretty good job of that. So it's probably that one, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah, that's a fantastic share, in fact, because I'm sure that that will 100% resonate with a lot of other people out there because it's such a common thing for us all to do from a business point of view and
Yeah.
also from a personal point of view, but certainly with regards to business and that comparison,
Yeah.
um, it can be the killer of joy, as they say. So, yeah, I think ultimately that's a great share. Thanks again, Thomas, for that one. Okay, so we're going to go back in time now, and we're going to go back and we're going to be able to visit an 18-year-old Thomas. Okay.
Yeah.
But what you're going to get is you're going to get an opportunity to give yourself one piece of advice, one golden nugget. What would it be?
Hmm. Ah, I just think to myself where I was when I was 18. Um, the only thing that really springs to mind with 18 Tom or 18 Thomas is just keep going. Everything that's hitting you at the moment, it's not going to last. And you've got it in you to do exactly what you know you're capable of. You just need to be given that chance. And I think I do a lot of work with young people now who come from underprivileged backgrounds and difficult situations, and it's a very similar statement to them. So I'm quite privileged in the fact that I can almost talk to myself in that aspect because some of them are young dads, and that would be my thing to young Thomas would be: you're doing the right things, It's tough now, but you're going to get through it. And yeah, and yeah, that's probably the most honest answer I could probably give you.
Yeah, no, I think, thank you again for being so open, Thomas, because, there's going to be some people that aren't just watching this, they're going to be listening to it. And,
Mm.
there was that element of emotion in your voice then, but also people that are listening to this that can't see you, I could see it in your face as well, that
Yeah,
emotion that was there. So thank you for
yeah,
being so open and honest, because that will certainly resonate with a lot of the younger audience listening
yeah,
and watching the
yeah.
podcast. So thank you for that share. Um, Thomas, listen, you're really passionate about what you do, clearly. And
Mm.
one of the questions I like to ask the guests that come onto the podcast is, what is it that really fires you up? What is it that puts that fire in your belly to do what you do day in, day out?
Sure. Weirdly enough, I was actually talking to my team about this last week. So the thing that I love in recruitment is I see it as a game. I see it as an exciting game to get into. And the great thing about recruitment, and I think very differently to a lot of other businesses, is you get to start again with a new job that comes in. So every time we get a new job, you just get to restart. It's like a game. You just restart and you get to attack it all over again with all the enthusiasm and all the drive. And that's the bit I really love because it's a problem that needs solving. It's right, let's investigate, let's map out, let's go see some clients, or let's go, if we're looking for candidates, let's dive into a certain area and let's find what, let's see what we can find. And that always buzzes me up so much because even now I do a lot. Unfortunately, I do a lot less recruitment than I would like, just because of obviously the operational side of the business now. But when I do, my team see me come into my actual element because I'm like, let's get stuck in. And I'm sure that probably comes across in this now, but that's the bit that gets me going. All the YouTube stuff is really fun, seeing clients and taking them out and schmoozing and all that sort of stuff. It's really good. But the nitty gritty getting into a job for me is so much fun, and I just enjoy it. So that's what I'd say it is.
Yeah, I can see that and hear that as well. Because I mean, just then when you were describing it, Thomas, it was like listening to a kid in a sweet shop. I mean, the
That
excitement.
is it. That is it. That I cannot describe it any other way. It's just when that new job comes in, and my team are like, you can have it because as I say, I'm usually here, there, and everywhere. But when I'm at my desk and the team are like, right, this is your one, let's get it, let's go on. And they feed off that. We all feed off each other in that respect. So yeah, that's the thing that gets me up. That's the thing that keeps me going in the morning and throughout the day.
No, that's brilliant. Thanks again. That's a great share. So, I mean, just to wrap things up for us then, Thomas, I mean,
Mm,
some of our listeners or a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to want to find out a bit more about you and more importantly, a bit more about the business as well.
sure.
So what's going to be the best way for them to do that? And obviously you mentioned the YouTube channel as well. So yeah, if you can just
Yeah.
let the audience know.
Yeah, sure. So we've got a few places where you can find us. Of course, www.edwardsandfinn.com is the website. We've got the job board and all the updates with regards to that. We're really active, really, really active on LinkedIn. So whether that be the Edwards and Finn page or my page, so at Thomas Finn, or we've got the YouTube channel. So that's E&Ftv, so Edwards and Finn TV, where we've got about 250, 260 episodes, all around commercial, and the production is really quite great. We put a lot of money into that and a lot of time. And then of course we've got TikTok and Instagram, which is just at Edwards and Finn. So yeah, we're on everything and we're on everywhere. So if you want to find out about hospitality and commercial, you'll find it hard not to see us.
Fantastic. Thomas, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, Mark, thank you to you and your team again for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thanks very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And for those listeners and viewers today, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Business Spotlight. That is a wrap, and we'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.